Hello, welcome everybody to a long-awaited smoking room. I guess we haven't recorded for a while, haven't we?
We have, but it was Ciconia-related.
Oh, true. Yeah, I wasn't on that episode.
Also, you sound super low now. I don't know what you did, but you sound 20 decibels lower.
Ah, fuck. Okay, give me a second. Here. Am I louder now?
Yeah.
Okay, here. Hello. Could you hear me?
Yes.
Wowie. Okay, this is good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. We'll restart this episode then.
No, it's
fine.
welcome.
Welcome. Yes, we're gonna do it. It's fine now, Des. It's just gonna be how it is.
Okay.
Today we are doing a Umineko-related smoking room. I don't know which episode we are on and when we're gonna put this out, but this would be another episode where we talk to somebody who's in their middle of their Umineko journey. I am your host, Mushroom, your friendly neighborhood mushroom. Hello.
Hello, I'm the inconvenient Des.
And we also have our friend. Say hi.
Hi, it's Lerf again.
Yo, no way.
Back at it again.
Yeah, it's Lerf is coming back. We're gonna get Lerf back more often if we could. It's really hard to find more than 2 people recording an episode, so life is hard.
I'm always here if you need a third slot. Just sub me in there.
And we have our special guest today who is currently in the middle of their Umineko journey. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I am CJ. I am the Umineko reader currently. Me and Lerf have been reading it for about a year now. So that's where we're at. I've been theorizing for a while.
It's always exciting to get new people onto onto the show to talk about Umineko, but also just to have new people reading Umineko in the first place. I think everybody, Umineko should be in a high school curriculum or something. It's such a good piece of media, so just to be clear, could you tell everybody where exactly in Umineko you are right now?
Yes, okay. So we are currently, we just finished episode 4, but we haven't started the tea parties yet. That was actually last night. We just finished that.
So right before tea party, you know exactly where that is, right?
Yes, it's right before the tea party.
Exactly.
No way.
Thank you, Des.
Spoilers for Higurashi and Umineko. Thank you very much. Let's keep rolling.
Okay. CJ, so let's start from, the very first question. Umineko is not a small feat to read, and I feel like most people would be pretty, scared by the prospect of, having to read 200 hours of your life or something. Why did you start Umineko, and, how hard was it to convince you to read it?
Well, I was not hard to convince to read Umineko whatsoever. Me and Lerf have always been, we've been trading media back and forth, essentially. So Lerf was like, hey, do you want to read Umineko with me? And I was like, sure. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I just kind of trusted because I know they like good stuff. And we've read long things before. I also have watched all 800 episodes of One Piece, so I'm used to big commitments.
Vibe! I also have watched all 800 episodes of One Piece. We should have talked about that instead.
Look forward to the One Piece Secret Tea Party featuring CJ.
Where are you?
Exactly. Or the secret tea party about Detective Conan.
Or that. Okay, CJ, this is a joke maybe you don't get, so I'm gonna explain to you now. Basically, we have episodes called Secret Tea Parties where we just talk about things that aren't when they cry. So that's the joke. Haha, you can walk now.
Yeah, and it's really horrible because it's just, they just record whatever the fuck they want. For example, Love Life.
True.
I saw that episode.
Amazing.
What did you think of it? Or?
I just saw it on my recommended. I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
How long? So it has been a whole year now that you have been reading Umineko? Or more than that?
About a year, right?
Maybe a little bit over, a year and a half at most.
It's going a little faster now that we're listening to voices.
I read Umineko in a year. So in a year you've read half of what I read. And by the time I finished, I had already forgotten some things from the initial episodes. So I wanted to ask you, how did you feel about that? Have you been forgetting things or not?
Yeah, I mean, especially episode 2 stuff, because I've on occasion reread the first episode a little bit just to check stuff back, but I haven't really gone over the second chapter much. I've been going back through my notes a little bit to remind me about stuff, but I do think I've forgotten a lot of you know, some of the early stuff and just like little things too. But I do try to take very good notes so that I can remember things.
Oh, you're keeping notes. Okay, that was a great idea. Lerf, did you tell them to do that?
Yes.
Okay, good job.
Oh yeah, the notes I think right now is like 271 pages on Google Docs.
What?
It's insanity.
What? Okay, Mushroom, real quick, check how many pages do you have of Dub's notes?
Dubs have around 50 pages.
Holy shit.
And Dub's notes are not even like his notes. It's like me like helping. It's like I wrote them, like he was the one who said the notes and I was the one who wrote them down, if that makes any sense.
To be fair, a lot of my notes are me just like regurgitating what I hear because I don't want to forget it.
Okay.
But I do have a good amount of theories and stuff on there.
That's pretty incredible. I mean, I think like a Umineko fan who spends a lot of time taking notes are the people who are going to get the most out of the piece of media.
True.
So I wanted to ask you, like, did you had any spoilers before you got into Umineko? Did you know anything about it? Like, for example, like, how was this story even sold to you in the first place?
No, yeah, I knew nothing about Umineko before going into it. I think, how did you pitch it to me, Lerf? Just like, it's a murder mystery?
Basically, what I remember is I read Umineko in like a week and a half, and I like steamrolled it, and I was like, I briefly like would mention it to you like on occasion, where I was like, bro, like Umineko like really good. I'm having brain rot. Like we should read Umineko when I'm done, and you were like, okay, I don't know what that is. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I was like, oh, it's like a mystery about magic, but not. There's no magic. And then you took that one line to heart.
Oh, I took that dead seriously.
You have gotten full battler mentality since the moment we opened up Umineko.
At the top of my notes, I just have in all caps, nothing supernatural in this story. And then Lerf on the side has just written site sources.
Nothing magical in this story, you say. Then how do you explain the magic, though?
It's so
It's not real!
How is it not real?
It's real to people. It's not real
You have witches erecting towers from the ground. You have people disappearing through holes in the dining room. How do you explain that?
Beatrice mindset.
What?
That's Beatrice's mindset. Well, she's showing us. She's showing, like, in a meta sense.
Okay, then what about outside the game board?
That's the meta world. That's the meta world.
Oh, okay. So, goddamn, you're just coming up with excuses at this point. Magic is real.
Listen, I have my other theories that are actually vibes, but not vibes. I have other theories. Listen.
Mm-hmm.
However, in terms of like magic stuff happening on it, like, I guess I've been more interpreting it as like, I've kind of clung to the kitty box theory.
The cat box,
basically. Yeah. Kind of viewing it as like, you know, these different explanations for what's going on, what's happening here, like on the island. So if I look at it that way, yes, like the stuff that's happening magically is important because it has, you know, information and stuff about how the culprit is explaining what's happening, you know, this magic explanation, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, that's what actually happened. And I've been trying to do the same for the non-magical side of the argument, too, because that screwed me over for a while as well, when I was just believing everything if it wasn't magic.
What do you mean by that?
Well, like, for example, in episode 3 with Ava's alibi of, you know, she was essentially with Hideyoshi the whole time. He had his hand on her forehead, and then later finding out like that's probably not true because Kyrie's evidence of the cigarette butt. Looking at stuff like that, the fact of like there are these two conflicting things, seeing that makes me think that like the non-magical side of the argument is very much the people on the island, like, what they're saying about it, I guess, is the way I've perceived it. So, like, this is how we're being explained things from a non-magical side, then you have the culprit's explanation, too. I don't fully get it myself, I wouldn't say, but I have been trying to doubt, you know, what people are saying, especially when there aren't many people in a scene, because the more people there are, I feel like the more likely it is to be somewhat factual when it comes to the non-magic side, because there's more evidence. That way you have more witnesses there. But it's complicated.
No, actually, that's a very concise point. Okay, so to the things that you have mentioned, I want to know, like, so is that something that you basically knew the moment you start reading EP1? Because, in EP1 there's not that much magical things happening. Like, were you always just assume, like, oh, this is all trick, and you have never believed in magic? Was there a moment that, like, really clicked for you? Like, how did you, because like, I feel like it's not hard for you to imagine that, like, most people walk into this, like, having put more belief into magic, or so how did you arrive at that, like, mentality?
Well, going into it, I think we mentioned before that Lerf had, like, said one throwaway thing about, like, oh yeah, and you don't have to, like, believe in magic while you read Umineko, like, what was it that you said, Lerf?
Yeah, I think I said it, like, while I was still in the middle of reading it, and I was just like, yeah, there's no magic in this story, pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. And I just, like, ran with that. I essentially, like, I thought it was really cool because I'd never read a story where it's like, there is these things that look like magic here, but you can challenge that with your own thoughts. Like, you don't have to blindly believe everything that the story's telling you. And I thought that was really interesting. So I went in like, okay, I am not going to believe in magic. I'm going to stick to it. And then towards the center, I would say, I was still going with the framework of magic not being real, but I'm trying to, like, understand, like, okay, well, why is this magic being shown in this story then? This quote-unquote magic. Yeah, so from the start, I've been kind of determined, like, I was kind of determined, like, I'm not going to believe in magic, I'm going to deny everything. And it's like, okay, well, even if I deny the fact that it's magic, maybe I can still understand, like, some of the things behind that magic, like, why it's being shown and the feelings behind it, I guess.
Okay, it sounds like you're having fun just trying to interpret the story in your own way.
Yep.
That's a very fascinating way to do it. So then my question is, like, why is there a hot lady screaming at you then?
So true.
Why is she here? Like, why is there a hot lady? Like,
where'd my wife come from, huh?
So hot, why evil? Or, like, so, like, what do you think that's about?
What? Beatrice, huh? Okay, so the way I've been thinking about it, I've been thinking a lot lately about this concept that's been brought up in chapter 4, which is, like, true magic, quote unquote, that the whole thing of, like, without love it cannot be seen, talking about, like, without anger and sadness and love, it's not, like, magic, I guess. And I've just been thinking about it a lot, that we have this concept of, like, white magic and black magic, and the Black Witch and everything, and the Black Witch being tied to, like, revenge and wanting to push the same hurt you felt onto other people, whereas white magic seems to be tied to, like, people's, like, love and making other people smile. And Beatrice is interesting to me. She's a little confusing because we keep getting told that, like, oh, she's not a real witch, And I think a lot about Beatrice too. It just feels like she is someone's, like, she's the culprit's emotions and feelings and stuff like that. She's some part of the culprit, or maybe all of the culprit, and she's kind of like this personification of that, I guess.
Okay.
So if I think of her as a personification, like, I've been trying to understand her and then understand the culprit through her, I guess. I've been trying to understand everyone, really. All the characters.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. I was just hearing you go on about how you want to understand all of these things and all that. And I was thinking, okay, but do you think you would survive on October 4th, 1986, yes, in Rokkenjima? Would you survive?
Would I survive in Rokkenjima? I feel like I would end up getting killed on the first twilight.
On the first twilight? Why the first,
I don't know
though?
if I can make it.
Why the first specifically?
Well, I mean, I've never thought about if I would live or not. I feel like I don't quite get the... I mean, the way I see it, the murders are sort of random, or at least portrayed to be random. So I don't know. With my luck, I just was saying that, with my luck, I'd probably get killed off easy.
The roulette is not in your favor.
Yeah, the roulette's not in my favor.
Is that your only question?
No, not yet.
Okay, so we should just keep going?
Yes.
Okay, so how is your reading experience so far? Like, as in, I feel like many people could read EP1 and feel like, wow, that's a pretty complete experience. Time to, open up and tell us who the murderer is. Like, that's... Like, EP1 is set up in a very classical mystery way where, it feels like in the very end you should start telling who the killer is and how the tricks are done. But instead, Umineko keeps going. Like, what did you thought about that? Like, and why do you think Ryukishi even is writing this? Like, do you have any thoughts about that? Like,
yeah, well, I had watched Higurashi before with the Lerf.
Oh, we have a Higurashi enjoyer in our hands.
Yeah.
it's a Higurashi anime enjoyer, Des.
Yes.
Don't get your hopes too high.
Okay, then I after you answer this question, I have to ask the obligatory question. So do continue.
Okay. So yeah, I had watched Higurashi before. So when episode 2 started, my immediate thought was just like, oh, it's a time loop,
Mm-hmm.
When Umineko EP2, you said.
Yeah, when EP2 started, and things started to kind of repeat, I thought, time loop. Since then, I've kind of stepped away from that,
Why do you think it's not a time loop anymore?
Yeah, I mean, things are obviously repeating, but we've seen, the game board, we've seen this is, Battler and Beatrice's game and things repeating and everything because they're, playing this game over and over. So the way I'm kind of looking at it is less like time loop and more like, I don't know, you could say alternate universes, I guess. These are different ways that it could have gone down, depending on, different factors and everything. I have a little theory that might be tied to the letters that were sent out, to the different...
So what's that theory?
I had a theory that, I was thinking about all these letters that were sent out with the codes, the safe and everything. And I had a theory that... My theories were either, it's either insurance in case the culprit decided not to kill the group, or it's some sort of, bet that the culprit is making by sending these out, if someone happens to receive one before the conference started, then that person would have all this money, right? And let's say, if by some 1 in a million chance, everyone received those letters before the conference started, there wouldn't really be, as much conflict at the conference because everyone's motives of, trying to get a lot of money right now would be solved, essentially. Although Battler would still be there, and we know he's one of the causes, technically. Yeah, so I had this theory that the culprit might have sent out those letters because they weren't entirely certain whether or not they were going to kill everyone. That was a big theory of mine. So I did have a little theory that maybe each episode would be, some different outcome with which letters arrived and which didn't, but I'm not so sure about that now. But I do think it is kind of each episode we're seeing is a different scenario of what could have happened on the island.
And not just a linear time loop.
Yes.
Could you go more in depth into... You gave us 2 reasons that could happen. One of them was that the culprit wanted insurance in case they did not end up committing to the crime. So what does that mean?
Yeah, so... Oh gosh, let me remember. It's been a while since I've thought about this theory.
I get it.
Yeah, I think my original thought was actually, I think my original thought was that it's insurance in case, someone gets home, someone doesn't die, that, they receive that money. But in the first place, if they did get home, then they would just have the inheritance.
But what would be the point, though? What would be the point of someone surviving the murder and then having this money that was sent to them?
What would be the point, man? That's
And also, people still did receive money regardless.
Very true.
What's that about?
I can kind of see it as a reparations thing. For these people who lost their family, you know?
Like, this is my sorry letter, and this is, like, it's like, sorry for murdering your family, but here's some gold. Like,
Beatrice just throwing in that money, like, hey, I did a little whoopsie. Here's some money. My bad, guys.
I won't do it again, I promise.
I think I'm, like, not very understanding of the insurance part, but I do understand what you mean by, like, it is a bet. Like, it's, you know, this is a conversation that existed in EP4, in the conversation where Angie is talking about this with Sakataro and Mammon, and it's about how, you know, sending letters about betting, and, you know, whoever it is could have lost and whoever could have won. Okay.
Yeah, to be fair, I also think that I'm not very solid on the whole insurance part either. Okay. That's a theory that I still have to carve out a little more, I guess.
That's understandable.
Okay, yes. Now it's time. I must ask, what the fuck is Furude doing in Umineko?
What is she doing there?
I don't know, you tell me.
Just came to hang out. No. I know Bern Castell has mentioned before that she was in a similar predicament to Battler, and because of that, you know, she took pity on him because his situation seems to be even more tricky than hers was. You know, that would kind of make sense if it's like got out of Higurashi time loop scenario and oops, there's Battler stuck on an island endlessly. But it's been a while since I've seen Higurashi. I remember her mentioning Bern Castell a little bit, and I specifically remember when the name Bern Castell came up, Lerf being like, oh yeah, and that's from like another work.
I think I mentioned to you that they cut out all the Bern Castell poems from the anime.
Oh,
yeah, they did. They did cut out all the Bern Castell poems in the anime.
Them.
Like, because we had like Older Rika at the end of the Dean anime, and CJ was like, "What?" And I was like, "Okay." So in the VN.
So it makes more sense if you know what she's talking about, but you don't.
I would honestly be down to read the visual novel at some point.
Yeah, I was thinking we could do that after.
Oh yeah, the visual novel is like you see how Umineko is. Now imagine an almost Umineko level kind of Higurashi.
Oh dang!
That's what the VN is like.
That sounds really fun.
It's really good, even if you've already watched the anime. Also, the reason I'm asking this is because the arc why Bern Castell is called Bern Castell is adapted in anime form.
Ah.
Is it?
It is. The arc is called Saikoroshi-hen, and it's in one of the OVA seasons of Higurashi Din.
It's the one where Satoko gets beat with the chair. I showed it to CJ.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, that's the
one.
Where Rika
Yeah,
gets hit by the car.
Episode, I remember. My favorite. I love when I beat small children with chairs. Especially if the small children is Satoko.
Why does I need to delete Go from everyone's minds just for the fact that it seems to have ruined...
CJ hasn't seen Go.
It ruined everyone's perception of Satoko, and I hate it. Satoko is cool. Fucking hell.
I like Satoko.
So let's keep going then. It's like, since it seems like you have not like a concrete idea, but you have a vague idea of how you talk about the culprit and how murder's done. Like, do you feel like you have a grasp of how all the tricks are done, like, or how all the murders are done? Since you are so like anti-magic in the first place.
Magic phobe.
So true.
Lerf has seen me trying to theorize on the closed rooms.
I have.
You witnessed this, Lerf. I have a thing where I start to try and figure out a closed room, and then somehow it turns into character psychoanalysis. Lerf and I have joked about this, that I could be like, you could be like, oh yeah, and how do you think they opened the door? And I'm just over here like, well, if you think about Klaus and his relationship with Kinzo.
And then it just goes on.
So that gets off the rails sometimes.
No, I want to hear the rest of this. I want to hear the rest of this. What does Kinzo's relationship with Klaus have to do with a closed room?
That's what I'm wondering.
Well, you see, because Klaus is very close to Kinzo. And the way he bullied his other siblings, it's like, okay, well, where did that start? It started with Kinzo. Anyways,
Yes. I also am an enjoyer of cycle of abuse. Tell me more.
I have thought about Klaus recently. I want more Klaus content.
Yeah, oh yeah. Why are you? Do you like? Are you a Kraus lover?
I hated him in episode. What was it? 2, 3, 3. I hated him in episode 3.
Early episode 3.
Yeah, I got so pissed at how he was treating Ava.
I mean, what made you turn it around then?
I just think he's interesting.
Okay.
And I think everyone in this, I think all of the siblings are messed up, so it makes it a little bit easier to, like, see their bad parts and then also, you know, their good parts. And episode 4 has helped me with that as well. It's like banging me over the head, like, look at the characters, and I'm like, okay.
Do you feel like in the game of reason and heart, you are more of a reason person?
I feel like I try to reason out. I've currently been trying to reason out stuff, like, based on the characters' hearts, I guess, if that makes sense. Because
100%.
I'm not very good at figuring out some of the things, like with the closed rooms and stuff, you know, like where
everything goes and
where everything is and all that, and remembering, like, who had the cigarette butt and everything. Although I did get a little bit of that, but I do think, like, I've been trying to combine those two. But I try to be more reason than anything, because I am trying to, like, prove that that there is a non-magical culprit.
Well, since we have skirted this around for this much, do you have an idea who you think the non-magic culprit is, or no?
Yeah, I do have some main ideas on possible culprits. I think, I've kind of gone back and forth on this. At this point, I do think that Ava did the episode 3 murders, not all of the murders, but after solving the epitaph. I do think...
Why do you think Ava did those murders?
I think the first one with Rosa was an accident. I was theorizing about this the other night. I think that, and based on, like, the evidence and how everything was portrayed, I think that Ava was trying to convince Rosa, in her usual, like, conniving style, to not spill about the gold. And I think that somehow culminated in Ava, using too much force and Rosa getting impaled on the stake. And then Ava kind of pinning things on Beatrice. It's just a little oopsie. I don't think she killed George, though. I'm unsure about how he died. I think she might have killed Hideyoshi on accident by...
Wow, imagine accidentally killing people that many times.
Whoopsie. Well, I don't think the other ones were an accident. I think she tried to pin it on Beatrice after accidentally killing Rosa, and then started killing people. And then I think she did accidentally kill Hideyoshi, though. I don't think... Based on her, I think she's loyal to him. I don't think she would have killed him.
Killed him?
Yeah.
Okay, so what part of the character relationship part led you to solve this out? Was it Maria's relationship with the Rose?
Wait, could you repeat that?
No, it was just a...
That's a stupid question. That you didn't even deliver the joke right. Now people are just confused. See?
I don't understand.
It was a failed joke. But it's fine.
Say it again.
Okay. So yes, Des, do you want to say that again, or I do have a question about that.
What? You want me to repeat that joke?
Okay, fine. I'm gonna just continue.
That's not how jokes work. They either win or they do not, and this one crashed into a mountain.
Okay, so I think, and to reason out that Eva killed, these people are not, like, it's not that hard. Like, it is true that in the end of EP3, it does basically just tell you, like, Ushinomiya Eva, like, killed Brawler and so on and so forth, like that. So, my question is for you is that, like, do you think of EP, like, so now you have a more solid idea for EP3, but, like, do you have any ideas for any other EP, like,
yeah,
like, especially, like, the Wall of Red in the end of EP3, it talks about, like, who killed Nanjo, like,
the Wall of Red,
like the Web of Red, and, like, who could have possibly killed Nanjo, and Beatrice says all these, like, red truth, and, like, how do you interpret that in the first place?
All of those red truths definitely were tough. I I found them interesting. I want to go back and really like dive into them. I was looking for holes in the Red Truths when I first got them, in terms of timing of like, okay, you know, the Red Truths say that like these deaths happened like at this time and then these people were dead at this time. I was trying to see if there were any holes in the timeline of like where someone could have been alive to do it. But it's a really tricky one. I find myself getting stumped by a lot of the, you know, the different like closed rooms and stuff like that.
But you know, even they are hard mysteries to solve. So take pride in the fact that you are still trying to solve them, because that's what it's about. It's about not giving up.
Very true.
If you end up solving it, it's a nice little bonus extra. But the point is to keep trying. My
current main theory is that Rosa is the one committing these murders. Why
Rosa?
Yes. So I've kind of, in the past, I've been suspicious of Kyrie. I've been suspicious of Ava for a little bit. I'm currently most suspicious of Rosa, kind of because of, well, obviously her anger issues. She has these moods and everything. And she has a lot of this, she has this big connection with Maria, you know, paralleling Beatrice's connection with Maria, of course. And I also have been kind of watching her movements a little bit, I guess, and the way she sent the servants out in, I think it was episode 2, right? The way she sent the servants out, the way she, like, treats everyone. Beatrice is a really fickle person, from what we've seen, and you know, Rosa, I would say, is also tends to, you know, change her mind on a lot of things. So that's something that I've really noticed. During I recently rewatched the scene where Rosa was forced to eat her own siblings, and I think the narration told us that growing up, if growing up is letting go of like those grudges towards her siblings, then according to the narration, then Rosa never grew up. You know, she still has like a lot of that hatred towards her siblings and everything. And in terms of a connection with Battler, because Beatrice obviously has a connection with Battler, I can imagine Rosa, who has really struggled with the Ushirmiya name, I can imagine her being really angry at Battler for rejecting the Ushirmiya family name, because she probably wanted to do so herself in the past. And we also know that, like, witches, well, I think witches, quote unquote, we've seen, like, can be born from people's feelings in different specific parts of them, like with Beatrice. And given that Rosa is the only one of the siblings who has met Beatrice.
Like, met? What do you mean by met Beatrice?
Well, met Birdie, specifically. I call her Birdie. You know.
The Kuwadorian Beatrice.
Kuwadorian,
oh,
yeah.
Kuwadorian Beatrice.
I sometimes forget that you guys don't know the names the nicknames I give these things.
Okay, yeah, that's a good name.
I call her Birdie. It's made me think a lot about, like, Rosa's guilt towards, probably, like, you know, her guilt towards killing Birdie and all that. And, you know, if she believes as a kid that, like, oh, Birdie died, but, you know, this Beatrice came back because she's a witch and everything, that kind of seems like it would quell the guilt a bit, especially because, well, Rosa may not have ever said that she believes in magic, but that also, I feel like, I mean, I guess it could be a sort of thing where, you know, she's just not saying that she believes in magic, because I can't imagine the siblings would. Anyways, I'm getting off track. I'm theorizing live over here.
They would bully her as an adult for believing in magic.
Worried she's gonna get bullied like Maria.
Hey, Maria had to have learned learned about magic from somewhere.
The internet.
Yeah, exactly. Did you think
the internet in 1986? Of course.
Yes, thank you.
Maria on Tumblr.
Mike, yeah. So, do you think Maria learned magic from, like, Rosa?
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. You know, Maria's magic seems very tied to, like, wanting to get that black witch away from her mother. If we think about it that way, I think it's very possible that when Maria was younger, you know, Rosa taught her a little bit about magic, maybe not fully believing in it, maybe believing in it, but that I can see Maria really latching on to that because it was something that her mother taught her. That's one thing it could be.
Why do you, but you want, Rosa seems to always have a lot of aversion to talking about magic in the first place, and she gets incredibly mad. It's whenever she hears her talk about witches, she's like, this is where she gets bitch slapped, all this stuff. How does that work with, if she was the one who taught her in the first place?
Yeah, well, I mean, Rosa has a lot of low self-esteem, and she's very concerned about her image and how other people perceive her, I guess. I mean, all of the Ushiromiya family seem to have a lot of that. So when it comes to Rosa, I can very much see her being ashamed of that.
A part of her that being the magic and stuff.
Yeah, I would say so.
Well, then my other question is we've talked a lot about basically tricks of how that's possible, and we talked about hearts about Rosa, but instead of thinking about this from the perspective of Rosa would be Beatrice, let's think about how is Beatrice Rosa, because so my question is that there's a lot of things about Beatrice that's very specifically Beatrice, Beatrice likes. Beatrice is a very sexual person by nature. She talks a lot about love, and she talks about, how she wants love. And
love is lust. Men are nothing but flies and maggots who gather around your female scent. I'll turn you into a maggot, and you'll see if that glasses guy still loves you.
Well, actually, now that I think about it, at one point that would have knocked my theory out of my hands, I guess, a little bit, because of... Specifically, we've seen Rosa say that she wants love a lot. But we also saw in episode 4 that Rosa had that falling out after Maria... Rosa had a falling out with one of her lovers after Maria got arrested. So I can see that...
not arresting a tiny child. Yes, she got arrested.
Did not mean arrested.
Arrested for Grand Theft Lion.
Called the police. My bad. Not arrested.
Arrested. Sorry. I just love the idea.
No, that is a closed room.
Arrested for magic crimes. Put this little child in handcuffs. No, but... but I can definitely see that affecting... her views of love in general. But as for how Beatrice could be Rosa, they both seem to have issues with anger and getting that anger out on other people.
I mean, but that is something that lots of people have issues on Rokkenjima. I feel
very true.
Literally 90% of people on Rokkenjima has anger issues. Every single interactions that Natsuki and Eva have with each other are just literally, tearing each other's throat apart, and absolutely this is what the women on women violence we always hear so much about, the feminism is eating themselves, but how, why specifically Rosa?
Well, that's the thing, yeah. I have this little funky theory that the first time the 7 stakes came up, right, I had this thought that, okay, there are 7 stakes and there are 7 siblings, and I had a thought that each of the siblings corresponded to a stake, but when they first showed up, I didn't really know as much about the siblings, so I didn't really think anything of it. But I think it was it was when Kyrie and Rudolph were fighting some of the stakes during episode 3. Yeah.
Episode 3.
Yes. I had this thought when we found out that Kyrie had a lot of this envy. I had the thought oh, maybe there's something here. And so I tried assigning each of the siblings kind of one main deadly sin. And I feel like they worked out pretty well. I'm still uncertain about Hideyoshi, but that's kind of why I specifically thought about Rosa, because I assigned her wrath, essentially. It seemed to me that her main issue was wrath. So again, that's why Rosa, I guess, I would associate the most with those anger issues. I think if I give out the list...
yeah, I would love to know.
I have Natsuki down as pride, Ava as greed, Rosa as wrath, Kyrie as envy, Rudolph as lust. That one's been interesting at the end of episode 4.
No way, Rudolph as West would never have seen that
Whoa!
one
Fucking
Crazy! And then Klaus as Sloth, I think. And Hideyoshi kind of got gluttony by process of elimination.
Well, he is the CEO of a food company.
So
Yes.
true.
Exactly. So that is one theory that I've kind of felt fits pretty well. And even if it's not intentional, I guess, it's still something that's been kind of helping me look at all the characters and see where they mess up. Because some of them have actually been like, very specifically, those words have been used to describe them so often. But yeah, so that's one theory that even if it's not intentional or even if it's not that deep, which it's Umineko, so everything's deep, it has been helping me, I feel like.
Okay.
Amazing.
Well, then, to continue with my line of thoughts about how is Beatrice
I
Rosa,
interrupted you on that.
because I think it's not hard for a lot of characters in Umineko to be like, oh, and this character is kind of like Beatrice, but like Beatrice embodies a lot of things.
Yes.
And she not like for example, so in EP2 it was mentioned that Beatrice is the one who already found the gold, and that's or she might be the person who already found the gold or something, and that is she like telling everybody to solve the epitaph because of blah reasons or blah reasons? So my question for you, my first question for you is, why do you think people are told to solve the epitaph? And if you have a reason of why you think Beatrice would want people to solve the epitaph, does that reason even could possibly apply to Rosa? Because if I can totally see what you mean by Rosa wanting to kill all her family members because her family members has been jerks to her. That's totally understandable. Any rational person will want to murder if you have met the Ushinomiyas. But
so true.
But how does that connect with the fact of wanting to solve an epitaph? Why and clearly Rosa was struck by money troubles. If she had the ability to get a bunch of money, and especially if you had the ability to send shitloads of money to everybody else, then why wouldn't she had just just took that money and fixed her own things instead of having to come back to the family conference and duke it all out with these people?
That's true. It doesn't really quite fit with the whole letters or from the culprit theory. But I do think, in terms of Rosa and the epitaph, I mean, this will all be me theorizing live, essentially, because I haven't considered this enough.
I mean, yeah, that's okay. Go for it.
Yeah, but I can see it being a thing where, if I think about it, if the epitaph is solved, then we know where the gold is. And Rosa specifically solved it. I can see Rosa genuinely believing, in the gold and that the gold is real, even though some of the siblings didn't, because after meeting Birdie, she genuinely, I can see that being a reason to believe in the gold as well, considering how closely those are tied.
Yeah.
So, if she's having money problems and solving the epitaph, would solve that. It's tricky. Umineko is tricky.
It is very tricky. I hate that part. When I was theorizing, I hated that part where it was like, oh my god, this is all making sense. And then you run into a huge wall. And nothing makes sense anymore.
You're like, damn it.
God damn it.
Besides Rosa, which, I see you have a pretty built theory around it, is there anybody else that you think, this person might be Beatrice?
I, at one point, was considering Kyrie. She did seem to want to stop Ava during the 3rd episode, bringing the cigarette butt with her. But, I don't think... Because after the epitaph is solved, Beatrice's murders stop. And this new Beatrice, who I think is, Ava. Ava doing a little whoopsie. But
But why would even solving epitaph stop murders? Like, what? Like, why is that even like a clause that happens?
That is, again, something I have to think about. But to continue my thought about the possible Kyrie, all good. I was considering her, even though she did seem to want to stop the murders on the third episode, and she has given Battler some advice with chessboard thinking and everything. At one point I thought, like, well, maybe she wants Battler to accept her as his mom, you know? And I thought it was like a parallel to Beatrice wanting Battler to accept her as a witch. But I kind of am not really as confident in that theory now.
I mean, I feel like the acceptance part is fine, but like there's a humongous part of Beatrice is about, you know, flirting with Battler constantly. Like, like, how is that factored into your theory of who Beatrice is and what that's all about?
You know, I haven't really considered the whole flirting with Battler thing, and the minute you said it, I'm like, I'd rather not think about that.
Well, you know, we can't just, you know, when we consider theories, we can't just ignore a huge chunk of it. So
very true.
It is, like, you know, it is very true that, you know, how are you going to explain the end of EP2 where Battler gets put on a leash, like her personal pet, and, you know, get paraded around? Like,
to be fair,
how is that factor into anything?
Yeah, to be fair, I don't necessarily think that Beatrice is the culprit. I think Beatrice is at least some sort of, like, personification of something in the culprit, is, I think, as I've said before. So it's possible that Beatrice is some sort of personification of, like, how the culprit views Beatrice. That's possible. So I guess that would do away with the not great aspects of Beatrice flirting with Battler if the culprit was Beatrice, which...
But, I mean, you know, why Brawler? Like, why specific Brawler?
I've been asking that question to Steve for so long.
Listen, I've been trying to figure out...
Wait, have you not already answered that question? You which always said that it was because, like, the parallel with Kitty wanting to be accepted.
Well, that was one theory I had, but I have a lot of theories at once, so...
Everywhere all at once, I understand.
Yeah, I'm going full Bluetooth barrage.
The 500 arrows.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have like a 300. How many pages of notes do you have?
200.
271.
You don't have 200 pages of notes if you didn't have 20 fucking theories about each of the things that happen.
Yeah.
Do you ever like get tired of writing them down? Are you ever just like, I don't feel like writing this one?
Not really. No.
Okay, that's great, because I have a lot of ideas as I'm consuming media, and sometimes I'm just too lazy to write them down, and then I regret it. So good on you.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't really get tired of taking notes as we're going, for sure, because it's just like my hands moving as I listen. But I mean, I guess I do sometimes get burnt out trying to like think of new theories. Like when I sit down, sometimes I just sit down and like, okay, I'm going to theorize about this. Specifically when I theorize about like the closed rooms and everything, sometimes my brain just short circuits and it's like, oh God. But overall, I don't really get tired of thinking about it as long as like I don't try to stick to one specific topic. I get tired of specific topics, but Umineko as a whole and theorizing about Umineko as a whole, not really.
Interesting.
Okay. So is there any theory that you're specifically proud of?
The 7 stakes corresponding to the siblings is one that I really like. Have mused as well about like, haha, what if it thematically like the 7 capital virtues relate to the siblings as well, which I was talking about with Lerf today. But that's outside of canon, so that's more just me like looking at themes and stuff. Did have a similar thing with Beatrice.
What's the similar thing you had for Beatrice?
Yeah, so I've been looking into like thematically some parallels with Lilith. I don't know if you know her.
Yo, Evangelion?
Yes, no. In Judaism, you know, the first wife of Adam and everything. I was looking into that. I'm no expert, but essentially, she was first wife of Adam. She was his equal before like Eve was created, and was banished from the garden for like not obeying Adam.
What? I didn't know this part about the war.
Wait, have you never heard about this? That's why everybody names. Yeah, that's why Lilith is such a popular name, and it's getting used a lot in like you watch Evangelion. This is why you should go read the Bible. No. You should be like Sayome.
No.
Okay.
No.
This is a side story. So our friend Sayome read Ciconia, and then was so on brain rot that she went and then just read the whole Bible in a day.
Oh my god. That is dedication.
That is dedication. But it would amount to nothing in the context of Evangelion. Like, the guy has come out to say that all the Christianity references were just because it looked cool. So what the fuck am I gonna... what is the Bible gonna help me with? Absolutely nothing.
Well, it will help you read Umineko, clearly does.
I do feel like it fits too because I think she became a female demon, actually, Lilith.
Yes, she does.
And in different translations of the Hebrew Bible, she's called, like, the night hag, or the night creature, or the night bird. I specifically was looking at, like, in some German literature, she's described as, like, the pretty witch, essentially, which I've been thinking about a lot. It's not really a specific theory, but I do like to think about those narrative, references, it feels like.
I remember when you were talking to me about like the Lilith parallel before, you also compared it to Birdie with Eve, how like she was made with one of Adam's ribs.
Yes, and then the knowledge of good and evil, and Beatrice being super sheltered, and then Kinzo being kind of this Adam figure.
Okay.
What's your theory on Kinzo? What's his deal?
Me?
Yeah, like Kinzo. What's Kinzo's deal? Why?
Kinzo.
What the fuck is Kinzo?
He is a madman. I remember, I forget where this was stated, but I remember it being described that madness in specific cases can sometimes birth like magical talent. I guess not talent, but can birth magic.
Brilliance, yeah.
And so with Kinzo, my main thoughts on him is the man is not mentally well, obviously.
but that's a low bar. Have you looked at anybody on Rokkenjima?
Okay, that's fair. None of them are mentally well.
I mean, there are some people you have like somewhat mentally well on your conspiracy board.
I mean, mentally well, I didn't say mentally well. I have some who I have marked down as mentally stable. That's different from mentally well, I feel like. Mm-hmm. I put mentally stable down as like these people probably aren't going to go off the rails.
So okay, let's hear it. Who in your like tier list of mentally well, mentally unwell, mentally stable? Who are they? Give me names.
Mentally well and mentally stable. Jessica, I feel like I think was at the top, right? Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
At the top of what? Of which tier?
on top of the calendar, like the top of the ladder. She won it all.
Of my mentally stable tier. This person is not likely to go off the rails and murder a bunch of people tier. Nanjo's also up there. Who else?
You don't think Nanjo can murder?
I don't think Nanjo could murder. At this point in the story, who knows what will come later. Maybe he'll murder a bunch of people at the start of episode 5.
Okay, I have a question though.
Yeah?
In episode 2, Jessica is literally screaming, I'll kill you, and then storms off into the mansion, goes looking for the culprit. So how is she at the top again?
Well, okay. Okay. So, yes, that was a thing that happened. However...
That was her off day.
Yeah, it was her off day. Oh, what was it that I was saying when we were making this Lerf? What was it that I said at the time?
About Jessica being mentally stable?
Yeah, I think I put her in mentally stable. Actually, I think Nanjo's above her. I don't think we, ordered these. I think there were just some people that were...
If I pull up our conspiracy board...
Yeah. Pull up the red string board.
Oh, could you send it to us? I would love to see what the conspiracy board
I think I've shown you one of them. There's also another one where CJ's trying to figure out who Beatrice is.
It's in its early stages.
it's in its early stages. There's only like a few colored lines between people. But yeah, let me go to the conspiracy board site. I can link it in the chat because it's a very good board. Here it is.
Oh my god.
And we need to update it. We made this in episode 3, right before Rosa got murdered.
Oh yeah, this was early.
What the hell? What the hell? What is...
This is
What am I looking at? Okay, this is when the person who's editing this episode will be showing this on screen, and then we'll all just look at this. So please explain. What am I looking at?
My creation on screen.
It even has a fucking description for what the figures mean. This is...
Oh, I love the key. The key is great. The key is so good.
They're not all done yet. Not all of the character descriptions are done yet, but yeah, we got a couple on there in the key. You note the orphan token. I was trying to find like things that related among different family members. So I was just like labeling them with like things different people had in common. And I think what was the symbol we picked for the orphan?
It's like the hand holding up the person.
It's a ham baby. Ham baby.
Just there.
Oh, for context, Voltron transformation noises means that they have a magical counterpart.
Oh, I forgot that was on there. Yes.
Wait, what? Voltron
yeah.
transformation noises.
like Kumasawa turning into
What
Beatrice.
is this? Started as a magical atheist is supposed to... Is that Star Trek?
I am still a magical atheist. I am entertaining the magic.
That's the atheist logo.
Oh, it's the atheist logo.
Yes.
I am, I have never seen anything like this.
Well, Des, then you haven't been on r/Umineko. Lots of people on r/Umineko is like, here's my mind map, and it's just a fucking humongous page filled with like colored lines. Do you want to explain to okay, so
I gotta open it up
Okay.
again. It's been a while. Let me look at this.
Wait, no, I need to point this out. Under Ushiromiya fucking Rudolph himself, there's a little small text in small letters that just reads titty out. What? What?
He does have titty. He does. He has man boobs.
You have to understand we were doing this oh, well, it was probably like late at night, wasn't
It
it?
was probably like 11 at night.
But you know what? I would put that there during the day too. I stand by that.
Was it so? When did you did this? You did this right at EP2?
It was EP3 right before Rosa got obliterated. So like before the second twilight of episode 3.
I don't even know where to start asking questions because there's just so much happening on here.
There's a lot on there.
So instead, I will go back to a question I had beforehand. So my question to you is: so you affectionately or just to distinguish reasons calls Quadorian Beatrice Birdie.
Oh yeah,
Who's Birdie and what is her deal? Like, why is she there? Like
Birdie. And why is she there?
she's a homunculus who lives in a mansion in some 10 or ish years earlier,
19 years.
what's her deal? Who is she? Why does she exist? Is she imaginary? Is she real?
Why is there a homunculus in my yard?
Yeah, exactly. Get off my yard, homunculus! Scatter!
Ma, there's a stray cat outside. I think she's, real, because we got a red truth on that. On there being, a figure in the house. I don't think she's actually a homunculus.
Yeah, where'd you get a human woman anyway?
I don't know what Kinzo's weird relationship with her is. I don't know, what that's all about. I think Kinzo is obviously creepy and obsessive and stalkery over Beatrice and abusive. He's obviously gaslighting Birdie, but I don't even know what she's doing there. I don't know if she's actually I don't think she's the actual Beatrice I don't even know if there are multiples. Man, that is one thing. Birdie is one thing where I still am just lost with. Yeah.
What do you think is very hard to grasp about her existence?
Her relationship to the quote-unquote Beatrice who gave Kinzo the gold. Kinzo's relationship with all that, Kinzo's, how he got all this gold, because I do think the gold is real. I think we got another red truth about that.
Yeah, that was a red truth.
Yeah, that was a red truth. So, like, Kinzo has gold. I don't know how he got all of this, as it's been stated, like, despite having no connections. I don't know, like, what exactly that was. I guess he maybe, like, again, more live theorizing. My brain wants to say, well, what if the original Beatrice wasn't actually a person at all, but like Kinzo's ideal woman or something, and then he was like, oh, I'm gonna find a woman who's just like her, but Beatrice Kinzo's OC. No, but I don't know what's going on with Birdie, honestly.
Okay.
So she real. She real and she existed.
She did exist.
Well, if she didn't exist, then how could Rosa murder her?
Very true.
Okay, speaking of things you don't know then, what are the things you expect the story to tell you as soon as EP5? What do you expect the story to reveal?
Or even, in the end of EP4 that you didn't get to read yet.
Okay. Things that's going to be explained, huh?
Like, certainly you must have things that you see like, oh, this feels like the kind of thing that would be revealed towards the end. So what are the things you think could be revealed at the start of the answer arcs?
Okay, maybe the epitaph, like the solution to it, because the epitaph itself, it feels like the solution is very much, how to get to the golden land. Well, not how to get to the gold, essentially. And Ava solved it. So if there's going to be one answer that's going to be given to us soon in the scatter arcs, I feel as though it would be the epitaph, because that's one of the first mysteries we're presented with, but I'm not sure.
Okay, that's a good bet. Let's see how that turns out.
Yeah, we'll see how it pans out.
Any more questions, question lady?
What?
You guys all snickering at me not knowing things. You're like, Oh, episode 5 opens up, and it's just like, the epitaph is no longer there. It doesn't show up until the end.
The epitaph is actually taken down.
No, clearly episode 5 starts with Beatrice being like, I am not Rosa in red, and that's it. And that's how episode 5 starts.
Episode 5 starts. The rest of Umineko is just a slice of life.
So Mushroom, what other questions? Yes.
I do have some. I think I do want to wrap it up because we have recorded for an hour. How long do we want to keep recording for?
Maybe 5 hours, 6.
Perfect.
Thanks. Everybody else on this call who might have other human life things.
My job.
Okay, so do people have another hour left, or do people want to only do like less than that?
Quit your job, Lerf. Only Umineko.
Quit my job. I can go for like another 40 minutes. It only takes 10 minutes to go to my job, so.
Oh, you literally do have your job after this. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go for another 30 minutes. Okay, cool. So, I did joke that what if EP5 starts with Beatrice saying I'm not Rosa in red? Are you ready to have other do you have any other person theories of who Beatrice could be? I feel like if anything in Umineko, it's about not die on the specific hill that you have decided.
Yeah, I'm not attached. I'm I'm attached to the Beatrice Rosa culprit theory, but I'm not it's not something where if it was proven wrong, I would have a battler existential crisis moment and stop existing.
Yeah, you don't simply just get called your mom and then you just fade out of existence.
No. I fade away. No, yeah, because I do think Rosa, at this point, it feels most likely that she is the culprit to me. But I have other people that I'm suspicious of. In the past, I've thought Klaus was kind of sus. I've had thoughts about Rudolph, though I'm not really sure about those. I've suspected Natsuhi in the past. The servants, I don't suspect them as the lead culprit, but I certainly have noticed that they, they certainly have an advantage with all the mobility they have, and they often don't have alibis for things, so they certainly are suspicious in that sense, though I can't say any of them feel similar to Beatrice to me. But yeah, so if Rosa at the beginning of episode 5 was said, like if Beatrice said in red, I'm not Rosa, or like the culprit isn't Rosa, I guess my next suspects would probably be like the assorted siblings, some of the other servants. Kinzo feels too obvious.
Yeah?
Though I need to look at him more.
Okay, so, we talked about who you think are most suspicious. Who do you think is the least suspicious out of all the people right now?
I mean, Battler.
You don't think Brawler has the culpable to kill?
Bro, what about Battler's sin?
Battler's sin is murdering 19 people.
Yeah, because of his sin, people die.
Battler's sin of taking out a knife. Other non-suspicious people, I guess Goda and Nanjo.
You don't think Goda can kill?
Goda's a little weenie. I don't think you could do it.
What about Nanjo then?
Nanjo, definitely, I think it's interesting how he kind of has this sort of role to like placate Kinzo that we've been seeing more and more as time goes on. So I think he might be tied to things. I think he knows more than he lets on, definitely, about what's happening. But I don't think he's the culprit, because I don't think I don't think he would be the one to come up with some idea like that.
Okay.
I guess if we go through Kinzo, if he's really like cares about his friend a lot, and then trying to think of what Battler could have sinned, what sin he could have done.
Yeah, exactly. Battler sinned 6 years ago. What's that about?
Yeah.
Why he 6 sins? Well, not 6 sins. Why he sinned 6 years ago? Like,
why did 12-year-old Battler provoke this?
Yeah, what kind of horrible thing did 12-year-old Battler do for?
I think he said something stupid. I mean, genuinely, I don't know to the who. Maybe the culprit is my most likely thing. Or someone close to the culprit that made the culprit a little angry. But, I mean, we know that Battler speaks without thinking sometimes,
True.
and that's, a big problem of his all the time. And
every word out of his mouth.
every 2 seconds. Every time he talks to Maria. But, so I think he said something dumb or something like that. Although, it does seem to be related as well to, like, leaving his family for 6 years. Battler makes fun of someone 6 years ago, and then they violently commit murder 6 years.
It's like the domino, like, meme.
Yeah, it's a whole domino effect.
Domino. It's like you tripped over like a piece of a rock, and then it's like you caused the downfall of the whole American state.
Battler's sin is he said hello to someone at the wrong time at the wrong day, and then it just all spiraled from there.
He was like, I hope you have a good day, and they're like, I'm not having a good day. How dare you?
In my world, that's a sin.
Like, in 6 years, I'll get you, and I'll kill all of your family too.
I mean, I also had the possible thought that Battler didn't realize how much he meant to someone, like, going to the conferences, and then, like, him leaving, he kind of abandoned that person, and him not being able to remember. But again, why would that end up in the murder of a bunch of people?
But like, also, who the fuck is that? Like, as in, like, who is that? Is that person fucking Rosa? Like, why does Rosa give a shit about a 12-year-old? Like,
Rosa, Rosa's like, 12-year-old Battler is the one thing causing me to not snap. But like, my question is, why is 12-year-old Brawler is the thing that Rosa says, oh, that's not gonna make me not snap, and then for Brawler not show up for 6 years to be like, oh, now he's finally back, and he's
now
like
I snap.
an 18-year-old. Now I snap. Not only I snap, I'm gonna kill every single person in the family, like, as in, like, my sibling.
Anyone who makes eye contact with me today dies.
That's the thing too. Like, in the first place, like, it's a 12-year-old. What in the first place, it's hard in general, like, no matter who the culprit is. Battler was 12 years old, like, what did he do? Did he break something that they couldn't be restored? Did he, like, I don't know, mess up in some really horrible way? He's a 12-year-old. What happened?
If anything was broken up horribly, like, you would have hurt, like, it wouldn't have been something like somebody hasn't, like, it would be like, oh, Battler pushed 4 servants off the cliff when he was 12 or something.
But why is it having after effects now is the thing? Like, if it was something so...
Yeah, when he comes back.
Okay, so I know we haven't even mentioned these things yet, but let's I wanted to ask you, like, you know, you have all your theories about 1986, and then I want to jump to now 1998.
Yes.
So in the 1998 world, Eva's alive.
Yeah.
And, like, Eva's alive, and then there's Angel. How did the culprit not kill, like, Eva? Like, what's that about? Like, how did Eva just dipped and then lived until she died even more miserable death of getting hated, to, like, you know, getting cursed to death by Angel?
Explain her plot armor.
Also, why do they portray it as an accident? Is something that I've asked you a lot of times. Because they're like,
Yes,
we couldn't
yeah.
find any evidence that there was a crime.
I mean, I've already mentioned my theory that Ava did the episode 3 murders, but only after the epitaph was solved. Because, you know, if we go by what the culprit has said, you know, or not the culprit, by what Beatrice has said, you know, epitaph is solved. Epitaph is solved. If the epitaph is solved, then, you know, the murder stops. So I do think that Ava did, if I go with my theory that Ava did not mean to kill, you know, Rosa, and then didn't mean to kill Hideyoshi, but whoops, her greed took over and she wants this gold real bad.
When you want that gold real bad.
When you want that gold real bad.
And you kill your entire family.
She had to do murder.
You're on that grind set. You're on that grind set, and you're just like, yes.
She had to do murder. She had to do murder. You don't understand. There was gold involved.
It's so true.
Des, do you have any more questions?
Yes. Impactful moments.
Ah.
There are a lot of those in Umineko. What's one that comes to mind?
Sakataro. Yeah, just,
Yeah.
Man. I cried so hard.
Really?
And the reveal
Yeah.
is also so... It's such a different reveal from how reveals usually go.
Oh, yeah.
They don't explicitly tell you, but they tell you.
Sakataro specifically, when Maria broke down that one night, when Rosa was gone, and then Sakataro, like, was comforting her, just, that hit really hard. And then, of course, the ooh, just that reveal. Oh, God.
me and you were both crying.
All of the Maria reveals have been so good. We were sobbing.
Like, I was, like, trying to read the narration, and I was like...
that
was her incantation to be happy with her mom, and I was fucking dying.
I mean, I was already, like, surprised with the ki thing. I was like, oh my god, Maria. But then the ooh is like, this recontextualizes everything.
Yeah.
I would say, like, usually when you get to EP4, like, either Maria gets to you, or, like, you know, or reading about Angel gets to you. Like, what makes me cry every time I read EP4 is the Angel bullying scene. Like, like the scene where she's at, like, the school, like, I cry every time. It's so tense, and, like,
That hit as well. That hurt so bad. Angel just, she's so good. I adore her. Like, she showed up and I was like, I'm gonna love you. And then I did.
I will forever fight the people who call Angie boring.
Well, maybe they're just not paying attention.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people don't like Angel when they first get to EP4 because they're like, why are we off the island? Why are we not doing this? It's like, I just want to get back on the island. Give me more murder. And then basically, like, EP4 is so long and people might just be mad about that. Like, but, like, I think Angel is incredibly well written and just so lovable and absolutely pain.
Every time in episode 4, every time we went to a new scene, I would get upset because I would be like, no, go back to the other scene. I want to continue that one. And then I'd get really invested in the new scene. And then it would change again. And I'd say, no, go back.
Yeah, that happens so much in EP4 specifically because it's a wild tone shifts over and over again. Like Ryukishi masterfully builds a scene up, cuts it off, and then just goes on, and like it's like, and then now you hear monochrome clock, and then you're like, I hate this. Please stop.
What, you don't like Himzaki?
Yeah. Yes. Give me a second. Yeah, continue.
Okay, at her request, I shall continue. So we were talking about the masterful OST from Mzaki, and I was gonna say, I love how Angie, just like us, are sick of Mzaki interrupting emotional scenes, and then there's that amazing transition where Angie actually does get mad at Amakusa for always playing Mzaki. That was really funny. Thank you, Rikishi.
It was very good.
Okay, so I don't know if it's recency bias, but all three scenes you've told us about are from EP4, so are there other impactful scenes from outside of EP4?
Outside of episode 4, again, it's been like over the course of a year, so it's hard to remember everything. I remember really feeling for Natsuhi in the first episode.
Because of Eva and how much of a bitch she's being?
Yeah. Oh. The Kyrie reveal about, like, Asumu and how that went down, that was fascinating.
And the OST?
It's like, I've been thinking about that a lot. I've been thinking specifically today a lot about, what I want to know is why Rudolph why Rudolph told Kyrie that Asumu was pregnant with his child, and that's why he had to marry her, or at least why Kyrie tells us that's what, that's what happened, when now we know that Asumu is not Battler's mom, biological mom. My question is, what the heck's going on there? I have theories that Rudolph...
You should say your crack theory that you told me earlier.
No!
No, Rudolph is trans. It all
So
makes sense.
true.
Hey, there's no shame in going on like wild theories. All of us on call, surely have been on that.
I will.
place.
Yes.
I think you should share your theory you shared with me exactly this morning, the one that made the boob scene worse.
First, I'm going to tell you my actual theory that I'm thinking about right now, and then I will tell you the crack theory that I was thinking about earlier. So, actual theory right now is that Rudolph was interested in and loved both Asumu and Kyrie, and he told them both different things. Because we've seen Rudolph tell different things to different people. He supposedly acts on Ava's side when Ava's around, or Klaus's side when Klaus is around. So I think it's possible that he was kind of back and forth between the two of them, oh no, I love you, blah blah blah. And Battler is, I don't know, something happened. But yes, my theories from earlier. Let me pull that up. Exactly what I said, because I was going a little insane, spouting random nonsense.
Yeah, no, it was literally the vibe.
Essentially, I think the thing I started off with was random thoughts about everyone's parents and everything, and I was like, yo, what if Battler isn't even Rudolph's son either? Because that was never said in red, despite the likelihood being mentioned in blue. And something happened, and so I don't know. I was later disproved because Rosa's too young for this, but I was like, well, what if Battler was her son, and then Rudolph took care of him as a favor because Rosa was not married yet or something, and it snatched him up, and it was a whole thing. So there's that, but then she was too young, and then I started going a little insane. Yeah, I think it was 16, but still doesn't really seem likely. But and then I was like, okay, well, and then I started having all these thoughts about well, what about everyone else's parents? What if Natsuhi couldn't get pregnant? So what if Rudolph was here, have Asumu's child, because I accidentally got another woman pregnant, and now we have Battler, and then Jessica is actually Rudolph's child, and then I got a little wild.
Rudolph's family trees all over the place.
Also, I think you also had a twisted around version where you're what if Klaus's sperm wasn't good enough, and so Rudolph
Yeah.
and Nazi
Yeah,
had
so-
a kid.
Yeah, so I had that whole thing about what if Rudolph cheated on Asumu and Kyrie or whatever with Natsuhi because Natsuhi couldn't get pregnant, and that was a thing.
Okay.
switching not it would be funny if it was just switches Natsuhi and Asamu's children. They get switched.
Damn, I can hear Butler crying in the corner, like, stop saying these things about my family.
I'm just like, no.
I need to desecrate them for the sake of the truth.
Those were my crazy, insane person theories this morning.
I really enjoyed getting that, like, the second I woke up. You said the thing about Jessica, and I was like, CJ, why would you make a theory that made the EP1 boob scene worse?
I didn't consider it until it was too late, and I had the theory in my brain. I don't actually think that this is the case, though.
I was gonna say, the way you say Kraus's name, you call him Klaus, and I understand why. It's like the whole thing, Japanese pronunciation, they turn L's to R's. But actually, Kraus is actually a real word. And that's where his name comes from. So actually the correct pronunciation is Kraus. I'm not telling you you need to pronounce it with an R. I'm just giving you a fun fact.
Funky.
You can pronounce it however you want.
I did not know how to pronounce his name whatsoever. And we weren't doing the voices at first either, so it was like, ooh.
Yeah, we, when we first started Umineko, we were doing, like, the voice acting out loud ourselves, but then, like, somewhere mid-EP4, we got a little lazy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also, I like hearing the Japanese.
How surprised were you by the voices after doing 3 episodes without them?
I thought they fit everyone really nicely. Lerf, when the characters that Lerf voices them all in like a way that also fits for them, I feel like, so that wasn't too was pretty seamless.
Is that
the characters that I voiced were all, I had no idea what their actual voices sound like, so I just picked whatever. So some of them I was like, oh, okay, that's very different than what I was doing.
Okay, you do understand that now you're gonna have to, each of you is gonna have to make an impression, right?
Oh God.
You do understand that's the box you've opened right now.
Oh my God.
No.
Hang on.
No.
I can do my Beatrice voice. I need a line.
Yeah, please do your Beatrice. If nothing else, I want you to do your Beatrice voice. I think you should do your Ushiromiya Battler thing. I think you should yell his name.
Why not both?
Hang on. Wait, I can do the meme that's like L plus ratio plus you're incompetent.
Please do.
I need to find where that is. Hang on. I need a good classic Beato line. Something with pizzazz. Time to get out my golden witch hat on. You're insignificant. You're frail, just like the pretty picture you tried to paint. Just a failed pretense, just like you're hiding what you don't want to see by covering it with a veil. Do you still not understand why you're furniture, you furniture? Just very my wife.
That was
Ushiromiya Battler.
I love that bit.
That was amazing. I did not expect something so good to be on. That sounded like you're a professional voice actor or something.
We've been telling Lerf that they should do some voice acting.
I've been considering doing voice acting. I love doing silly little voices. Do we want to say who we were voicing? Alright, I have a casting list. Hang on. So we wouldn't forget. Because there's so many of them. Some of them are secret that CJ doesn't know yet, but I don't think we'll be using the casting list anymore. We're pretty stuck on voices.
What do you mean? I know every Umineko character.
Yeah, you do?
There will be no more of them.
No more. Absolutely.
I have decided.
So CJ was voicing Natsuhi, Rosa, Genji, Kanon, Battler, George, Nanjo, Kumasawa, and Kyrie. And I was voicing Maria, Rudolph, Jessica, Shannon, Kinzo, Goda, Klaus, Ava, and Hideyoshi. As we were voicing, for me, Natsuhi and Rosa's voices just kind of like, I accidentally morphed them together because I couldn't keep track of how many characters there were. So I guess, but yeah, Rosa definitely was a little bit different. I feel like I kind of switched up the voice that I did to sort of match a little bit better. But yeah, Battlers is still the most fun for me. I just give him like anime protag voice. Of course.
Okay, then ask me to repeat in Battler voice. Say the line.
Ask us to repeat something.
Say
repeat the line, Ushiromiya Battler.
Say the line.
Okay. Give me a line.
Zen Tamid. It's all useless.
Oh God. Shoot. I feel like it's easier to do longer sentences. I get what you were saying.
Because it gets you into it.
Hand me a battler line.
Okay, I'll give you a battler line. I'll give you one of my favorite battler lines. Parting remarks are a loser's privilege. Say as many as you want.
So good.
Wait. All right.
Let's go.
Okay, let me remember. It's been a while since we've voiced them. Parting remarks are a loser's privilege. Say as many as you want.
Yo, there we have our battler to the battle. Amazing. Amazing. So when's the English dub coming out? When's the patch coming?
English dub.
Yeah, we are now Umineko Gold.
But we forgot to do something. And I don't know if we want to keep recording until Mushroom eventually comes back. Because we're approaching the 2-hour mark.
Also, before anything, Lerf, I realized I never sent you my little sprite.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
Your sprite!
Oh my gosh! I'm sending it over now.
Alright. I for context, I don't know what CJ looks like.
Hello?
Yes?
Oh,
Mushroom, are you there now?
Hello? Could you hear me?
Okay, she's back, yes. Did you not realize you were muted?
I don't know.
I thought that was...
I didn't realize I was muted. No, I didn't realize nobody can hear me.
Okay.
I muted you because you forgot to mute yourself.
Okay, then did you just didn't unmute me the whole time?
I was waiting for you to say something in the chat.
Oh, sorry. It's okay.
Did you expect me to check every 5 minutes if you were done?
It's fine, Des. It's fine. It's not a big deal. I was asking questions the whole time.
That's so sad. No.
How did you feel being ignored?
No, actually, not really. I actually didn't feel like I was ignored at all, which is the most horrifying part of this conversation.
Oh no. Lerf,
Okay.
I'm sending you my icon though.
Okay. I'm gonna click on the DM now. First reveal.
First reveal.
Oh my gosh! Little guy!
Me.
Ooh.
Little Ushiromi, a family member.
Wait, you sent it in the DM? Mushroom doesn't know what it looks like.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it.
Here, wait.
Also, let's explain, since I'm glad that after like an hour and a half of recording, we can finally explain what your which Sona is. So please explain to the crowd.
Well, it's not quite a witch Sona, because
Everybody has a witch Sona.
I refuse. I'm not a witch. I am simply in this little icon. I am simply a Ushiromi, a family member.
Aw, that's adorable.
Are you also Rudolph's?
I'm the third. I'm from the third one he cheated on.
all of the Rudolph cheat. I have never thought about how Rudolph just sired every single child.
Rudolph sired every single Umineko fan.
Umineko self-insert cheat. If you want to be in the family, just be Rudolph's like unknown child.
Exactly. Easy.
It's like, yeah, exactly. How could anybody else be called a murderer when every time Rudolph shoots a load, he's murdering somebody?
No.
God.
Damn.
Kinzo's inheritance can be split up among the whole world.
Rudolph is just the Genghis Khan of Umineko.
God damn.
After all of this, I think we have hit our, an hour and 50-minute mark.
Yep.
I think, now, do we want, should we just stop now? I think this is a pretty good point for us to stop.
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably best to stop now because I gotta go to work soon.
Mm-hmm.
In a minute.
I wish you luck on reading more Umineko. We will...
Thank you.
Just to keep track with everybody who, is reading Umineko, we'll probably find you again when you get to EP 8 or maybe even earlier than that.
Who knows?
To check up with your progress. Who knows? Depends on how we read Umineko, how slowly. We probably will just have to, continuously get people. So, and thank you so much for coming on. Do you feel like your brain has been thoroughly teased? We would love to ask you more questions if we have more time.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I, as always, when I talk about Umineko, I have just as many questions as I have theories. So
That's good though.
Thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, CJ, for coming on. And I think we will end out. Everybody want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.